All right, so we've finished the fetch and triage steps. With that, the last step remaining in the ingestion phase is the extraction step. That's where we extract business signals and marketing facts from the remaining articles that we kept after triage. And we'll use these insights later to come up with the actual startup ideas. This step will actually be very similar to the triage step. We'll also use batch processing since we're still dealing with a large number of articles. If you remember, in the fetch step, we cut down the number of articles roughly in half from 1,000 to 500 or 600 or so. So now we need to process all of those. And this step is a little bit more involved. For triage, all we had to do is ask the LLM to look at the first 300 characters of each article and decide whether this is likely worth keeping for deeper analysis or not. For extraction, we actually need to go through most of the article and distill the actual insights so we can use those later. So it's a bit more involved. We'll need to add more context to the prompt. We'll truncate the articles to about 3,000 characters. That should be enough to work with. Still, that's about 10 times as much per article. So we will use a batch size of 10. That has worked pretty well for me. We'll also use a slightly better Gemini model. We'll use Gemini 2.5 Flash instead of Gemini 2.5 Flash Lite, which we used for triage. And Flash can handle 10 articles easily. As always, you can tweak the numbers, see what works for your use case, but this has worked very well for me. So that means if we feed in about 500 articles, we'll have to process a total of 50 batches. And at the end of that, we will get article insights. I'll go a little bit more over what that actually means. Also worth pointing out that not every article will yield insights, so that's fine as well. We will still record whether we've processed the article, so we don't have to keep processing it over and over again. That's how our database state-based pipeline operates. We'll always look at all the pending data from the database and then process it. So, but yeah, it's totally fine for article insights to be empty. And here we see what these article insights will look like. So each article insights object maps to a specific article ID. And then it contains a list of business signals and a list of market facts. Business signals are observations about consumer shifts, pain points, new technology opportunities, regulatory changes, or demographic trends. And market facts are concrete statistics useful for market sizing. For example, things like 30% of franchises are owned by women. And when we store these in the database, article insights will be a table, and then the two lists in here can just be JSON objects inside of that table. That reduces the complexity of the relational schema a little bit and is quite flexible. Makes it easy to add new data later on.